Right, welcome ladies and gents. Doctor Who aired at the weekend to the lowest viewing figures, not the lowest, but some of the lowest viewing figures in history. Not really a surprise, kind of to be expected, quite frankly. People are sick to death of this woke shit. They just have had enough. And hilariously, they quite literally just between episodes, they lost 200,000 people. So to say that, you know, it's all to do with the time of day or the weather, that's why the viewing figures were bad. You lost 200,000 viewers between episodes. So how do you explain that? I'm sure you will try and explain that, but no. The explanation is that people checked out because it's shit. Terrible, terrible, terrible. And it's not really a surprise when you have the showrunner commenting about how he's going to usher in an inclusive era of Doctor Who. No one cares. No one wants this. Literally no one cares about this. No one cares about how many disabled people you can put in an episode. No one cares about how many black people you can put in an episode. Nobody cares how many times you can placate to left-wing ideology in an episode. It's boring. It's played up. And if that's all you've got in terms of your, narrative structure, that's how you deal with your plot devices, you're a shit writer. There's no two ways about it. You're terrible. So we're going to take a look at this today. Please do hit subscribe if you're new here and turn the bell notifications on. You like what I do, support via Patreon or buy some awesome merch at mistageshop.com. Anyway, showrunner Russell T Davies on ushering an inclusive era of Doctor Who. That's right, ladies and gents. If you needed any more of an excuse not to watch this, and what was it that they said? Go touch grass. Then here's some more reasons, I guess. So, after 13 years away from the smash hit British sci-fi series Doctor Who, showrunner and executive producer Russell T Davies is back and ready to slightly reintroduce the Doctor in a way that's a bit more nuanced and bolder than ever before. I don't think there's anything nuanced about a gay black man running around being a gay black man. There's nothing nuanced there. It's pretty obvious. This time around, in the series' 14th season, which is hilariously on Rotten Tomatoes labelled Season 1. Not quite sure why they're doing that. I think this is Season 1 under Disney, and that's them trying to be like, it's a new era. It goes along with Disney's playbook of out with the old, in with the new. The Doctor is played by Ncuti Gatwa, and he's the first openly queer black actor to take on the role. You'd never know that, would you? They don't keep mentioning it, do they? You never would have known that. Did you know that? He's the first gay black man to be Doctor Who. Did you know that? Well, if you didn't, he's the first gay black man. And says the following. When you become a senior figure in television, it's your job to open doors and let the next people through. And to let trans and queer stories through. Is it? So you're using television as a vehicle for this, well, to propagandize people then, basically. It's not. It's actually not your job. What your job is to entertain. But the thing is, these people do forget that their job is to, first and foremost, entertain people. They believe that the job now, first and foremost, is to propagandize people. It's nonsense. Davies told Deadline, Davies was the linchpin of the new iteration of the six-decade franchise from 2005 until 2010, making it one of the most successful TV reboots in modern history. My, how the mighty have fallen. So Deadline spoke to Davies about the importance of his work as a queer filmmaker. But you'd never know he was gay, would you? You never know, or queer, whatever he considers himself, because I don't even know what these things mean anymore. Words lose all meaning with left-wing ideology. It's utter nonsense. But anyway, the importance of his work as a queer filmmaker and the unabashedly fun choices in the latest season of Doctor Who. They're really trying to sell this. It's great for me. It's given me great content. But they really are trying to sell it. So Deadline. You ushered in Doctor Who's iconic revival in 2005. And now you're back almost a decade later. I'm curious about the through line of your work on things like Queer as Folk to Years and Years to now cultivating this new queer Doctor Who. As a queer person yourself, what does all this mean to you? That's right, ladies and gents. What you really want to know about Doctor Who is what it means for the showrunner. Because this is typical narcissism from these people. I like how they're not even trying to hide it anymore. It's so funny. Anyway, he says, that's like asking me, what's the meaning of life? Ha ha ha. It's something I'm immediately proud of. I often get asked, do you mind being identified as a gay writer? And I say, I'm absolutely delighted to be. That's because that's all you are. That's your entire identity. It's pathetic. And he says further, I'm identified by that. Exactly, that's your identity. What a fine label to have. I consider myself to be very lucky, genuinely, throughout my life. When I came to write Queer as Folk, which was the game changer for me, I just think I was lucky that I was the person that got those types of stories on screen. Because I know I was part of a rising tide of gay, lesbian and other writers. Alright. All of us contributing to the soaps and chipping into primetime dramas. All of us slowly and then rapidly increasing the visibility of queer characters on screen. So, yeah, so that's why it's actually disproportionate representation at this point in time. Yep, that's why. Because you hired a bunch of gay people to write stuff. Alright then. I don't mind seeing gay stuff and gay stories. Like, that's fine. Sure, whatever. But it doesn't need to be in absolutely everything, which it is. And it's disproportionate representation now. Anyway, and I'm lucky that I was the one that burst through and got that on screen. When you get... my God, what an answer. This narcissist. When you get lucky like that, I think you have to act with responsibility. I know it's a very hungry audience that is rarely satisfied. I met someone recently who loved a show I'd written called Cucumber. Believe me, that show died a death. No one liked Cucumber. So meeting someone who loved it, he's just plugging himself. Dickhead. That show died a death. No one liked Cucumber. So meeting someone who loved it was such a nice special moment for me. I'm always aware, especially as time marches on, that I carry this legacy of being white, male and gay. Do you? Why? And it's my job to look beyond that. This guy's a racist. A self-loathing white racist. That's what he is. And it's my job to look beyond that because there's no point sitting still. I have to look at myself and be certain that I've moved on. I look to society and try to listen to what's going on and open gateways. When you become more of a senior figure in television... yeah, it's his job to make everything gay, apparently. There you go, that's super lame. And anyway, he goes, one of the marvellous things about being gay is that actually you're always in the news, whether you want to be or not. It's in every presidential election or prime ministerial election in Great Britain. Someone will ask about gay rights, someone will ask about queer rights. You find yourself in this remarkable position of always being topical and newsworthy. And although I wish a lot of those problems and discussions didn't happen, what problems and discussions are there now in the UK? Like, yeah, not giving castration drugs to kids, I guess, but I mean, is that a problem? Anyway, and I think it keeps you topical. It means that you can't quite settle into middle age because your rights are not enshrined and are paper thin. They absolutely are enshrined. You are talking utter shit. I've always said that our rights are paper thin, and lo and behold, the past 5 years have proved me right. I don't take any joy and satisfaction in being proved right in this at all. What are you talking about? None of this is true. This is all lies. Like, legitimately, all of this is a lie. You will not find in the UK one right afforded to straight people that is not afforded to gay people. Like, you won't. You are talking utter shit. So when it comes to this whole world, this whole vortex of this whole continuum, my own work that I've created, then Doctor Who is simply just a natural part of that. And I have to believe that I've been employed to write, to be me, to simply write the way I write, and to say the things that I say. Yeah, typical narcissist. Anyway, there's more crap. This is a long video, I'm sorry. As you stated, the times and cultural climate have certainly changed, especially since you were last at the helm of Doctor Who in 2010. This is also reflected in some of the themes laid out in the early episodes of the show. The thing that particularly jumped out to me was the mental health of it all. That's right, there's definitely not a mental health epidemic, and these people are definitely not contributing to it. Because people don't have a culture that unifies them anymore. Yeah, this is definitely not happening, and they're definitely not like being predators to that as well. Yes, they are. The Doctor and Ruby Sunday seem more introspective about their backgrounds, or lack thereof, in this exploration of their identity crisis. Just propaganda, isn't it? They're literally just admitting it's propaganda. It's a world now in which the greatest thing we can do is reach out to people and try to help in matters of mental health. To all young people, more so than ever before, we need to reach out to them and say, express yourself and tell us when you're unhappy. That's right, because we really need more generations of young people just being completely confused about their existence. That's definitely what we need. Idiot. One of the glorious things about TikTok, you know someone has absolutely no justifiable opinion when they start saying that TikTok is a good thing, especially in relation to mental health. What an absolute psycho. My God, how can anyone defend him now? I mean, I'm sure there will be people furiously typing down below. You know what I say to you guys that are furiously typing down below? Save it, mate. You're not gonna say anything that's worth my time. Anyway, one of the glorious things about TikTok is they can all dance and show themselves, having an enormous fun in their bedrooms. It's not all misery. There's real joy in being a teenager. TikTok is one of the largest proponents of this mental health epidemic. So you're an idiot. Shut up. And doing a shitty little dance on your phone is not going to help you. Let's be honest. Like, in fact, actually, social media is proven to be worse for kids, actually. So even though they are dancing, it doesn't matter because they'll judge themselves. So, am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? Oh, did I get enough likes? Like, just what kids actually need is to get the fuck off TikTok. Get the fuck off TikTok. Go outside. Touch grass. That's what they need. And to be told that, you know, man's a man and girl's a girl, and there are only two genders, because there is. Suck it. Anyway, so that's the world I'm in now, and that's very much the world I wanted for Doctor Who. I wanted the joy, that expression, but also that freedom to talk about mental health, and that comes with a story about adoption and fostering. I think it's funny because I think we can all relate to stories about adoption and fostering, because frankly, I'm quite sure I was kidnapped as a child, and I actually belong to a royal family. That's actually incredibly disrespectful to people that have been adopted and fostered. Oh yeah, everyone can just relate. I can tell you from a personal perspective, no, most people cannot relate to adoption or fostering. You just can't. You absolutely, unequivocally cannot relate to someone that has not had even remotely close to a standard upbringing, moving from house to house, to family, an unsettled sense of belonging nowhere in the world, and a sense of mass hatred towards something that you just can't quite put your finger on. No, you actually can't relate to that. Most people can't. You dickhead. Anyway, let's be honest. I'm very safe and secure in knowing who my lovely mum and dad were, yet I still wonder who I am and where I came from. Yeah, that's not what adoption and fostering goes through, you absolute rancid piece of shit. The bloodline doesn't answer everything about who I am, and I genuinely had a lovely childhood. I have no problems to unearth there, and yet I end up as this queer kid, locked away in what was a very sporty household, with my dad loving rugby, my dad almost playing rugby for Wales. He was a very big rugby captain, so I even think, where do I come from? We all do. Yeah, not in the same context though, mate, so incredibly disrespectful to people who have been through adoption and fostering. You're a bit of a cunt for that. Anyway, there's more! This guy just talks for fucking hours. So for those people who've been through the adoption process or the fostering process, and certainly amazingly for people who've been foundlings, what the fuck is that? It is a very rare thing, but an astonishing experience to have to go through. It's a very rare thing, but an astonishing experience to have to go through. I don't think people that have been adopted and fostered go, this is astonishing. Fuck me. This guy's a clown. We're all wondering who we are, and I think that's a very modern question to put into Doctor Who. And when you also factor in that Doctor Who has recently discovered that he is not a Time Lord by birth, that he was an abandoned child, it just starts to resonate. The best thing you can do with a science fiction property is to make it mean something at home. And in the way that I love Star Trek, it inspires me to be the best of us. Star Trek genuinely encourages us all to do well, to trust our friends, to have faith in the system. Doctor Who has different values. Doctor Who's much more individual and idiosyncratic and would run away from a formal process as being the crew of a spaceship. Nonetheless, they've all got something to teach us, and I think that's a great place to be working. I love writing this stuff. I love doing this stuff because it can humanise it. Because if you can humanise it, then, as all great science fiction has always done, it's only people who don't watch science fiction who think that science fiction is cold. This guy's an absolute loser. I hate him so much. There's more. Again, I'm so sorry. This is a long video. This season was so much zanier than in previous iterations. Now that Doctor Who has a Disney budget, how has that amplified your approach for the new season? I wanted the show to be fun and a bit nuts. I think there's an awful lot of television now, and I watch an awful lot of television, but I think there's so much television that sticks to the 3-act structure, You know, when there are 10 minutes left to go, and when there's going to be a major event, or when the murderer is going to be caught. So I think it's time for a show to break those rules. Writing is about the heart and the pulse and the sparks in the brain. Writing is about psychology. It's about understanding people and why they do what they do. It's not about hitting a particular beat 17 minutes in. But so I wanted to show this kind of laughing in the face of those rules. God, you're such a dick. I'm just going to change everything that works. Like, it doesn't need to be beat for beat, but this guy, he genuinely thinks his shit doesn't stink. Doctor Who has its own charm and property. It's always been mad. The whole fundamental principle is here. A wooden box that's bigger on the inside than on the outside. It just goes anywhere for no reason. So, it's not his job, it's not his mission, it's not his task, it's not a quest. He just pops off to the next place at random. That is joyously freewheeling. You have goblins who can sing, a god of music, and you pop back in time to meet the Beatles, and I can promise there is lots more to come. Sure. And at the same time, it's worth saying that new viewers, that there's always, you've probably only got new viewers left, mate. There's always a very strong story. There's always good and bad at work. There's always a crisis for the Doctor. There's always the human companion to experience things through. So the bones of a proper story are still here. But I think the chance of having fun and to go wild is irresistible. Speaking of music, there's quite a bit of singing in this season. When you cast Shooty and Millie Gibson, did you tell them they'd do all this beforehand? Fuck. I don't care. What are... Oh, God. I hate it so much. This is a long video. It just talks about some shitty singing, choreography and dance steps. They in last episode, they even had a bunch of minorities in wheelchairs trying to dance. I can just imagine him on set going, "We need more minorities in wheelchairs, please. Must get them in this shot." Look, it's ridiculous. This whole thing is ridiculous. And he's killed it. And it's going to die. Or it's dying. Whatever. This guy's such a turd. There you go. This is Russell T Davies on making everything woke and inclusive. Good times.